So there's a secret skill that top YouTubers like Alex Hormozi, Charlie Morgan, and Iman Gadzhi use to absolutely explode the growth of their channels and print sales on YouTube. And no, it's not psychology, it's not coming up with better ideas, and it's not even script writing. It's a skill that they've all studied for years but rarely talk about publicly, and most YouTubers don't even know that it exists. Hi, I'm Eli, and in the past 3 years, I've used this skill to come into YouTube with no previous experience and generate over 13 million views and over $600,000 in sales for my clients. So in this video, I'm going to reveal exactly what this skill is and why it's going to give you an incredible advantage going into 2026. I'm going to cover exactly why it's becoming 10 times more important to study this skill as AI floods the platform, and how you can master it in 4 simple steps to help you make more money from your channel. So let's start with what this mysterious skill is. So I discovered it about 5 years ago, and it's exactly what took me from being a broke bum in 2021 to making a full-time income in 2022, traveling around Europe in a van with my lovely partner. So here we are traveling all around Europe. Amazing trip. So back in 2021, I was making $0 online. I just failed 3 different businesses and I had absolutely no skills. I didn't know how to get attention, and I didn't have any understanding of, what actually makes people buy. But then I found this weird video on YouTube and it absolutely changed everything. So as you can see, it's a super bad quality video, but the guy in this who's actually teaching is one of the greatest marketers to ever live that you've probably never heard of. So his name is Gary Halbert, and what he taught in this seminar made me feel like I just discovered fire. So the skill that he was teaching inside this seminar right here is called direct response marketing. Basically, it's a way to sell things through the written word. Now, I call it the oil that runs the internet, because basically behind every great marketing campaign, you will find some aspect of direct response marketing. So once you understand the basics, you're going to be able to bend reality, because the veil is going to be lifted on what actually makes marketing work. So it's 100% the reason why Alex Hormozi made $105 million in 24 hours recently. In his book, $100 Million Offers, he directly quotes one of the fathers of direct response marketing, Dan Kennedy, multiple times throughout the book. It's also the reason why Iman Gadzhi grew 2.4 million subs in 12 months. And it's exactly why William Brown can make boring videos like this, where there's no fancy thumbnail, no fancy editing. He can still make millions of dollars from his channel. So once I discovered the power of direct response marketing, I studied it like an absolute madman. So I used it to learn how to get attention, how to build desire and curiosity, and turn that into actual money. So today I want to share this magical skill with you. So I'm going to break down the 4 core pillars of direct response marketing. It's going to help you grow your personal brand on YouTube and generate a bunch more sales and leads. Now, just before we dive in, I have to give credit where credit's due. So I learned these 4 core pillars from a guy called Kyle Milligan. Highly recommend checking him out on YouTube. So the first pillar of direct response marketing, to master it, is you have to make your thing new. Now, obviously we're talking about YouTube. So in this case, it's making your video idea and the content of your video new. So to explain why you have to position your video as new, I want you to think about when you're scrolling Netflix. So if you see the same action movie or rom-com that you've seen a million times, chances are you're just going to go, seen this, and skip it. So the exact same thing happens on YouTube. If your video doesn't offer anything new, your audience goes, all right, I've heard this or I've seen this before, and they're not going to actually click and watch your video. So how do you actually position your videos as new? So one of the best strategies, there's a bunch of strategies to do this, but one of the ones that is super easy is to find breaking news in your niche and build a video around that. So right now in the Facebook ads niche, this is working because Zuckerberg has dropped a new algorithm update called Andromeda. So this is massive news and it's causing big problems for e-commerce brands and all that kind of stuff. And as you can see, videos based around Andromeda are absolutely popping right now. So 100x outlier, 30, 74x outlier for these channels, which just goes to show how powerful it is when you base a video around a trending topic or some sort of breaking news. So the second strategy is to give old solutions a new name. So while breaking news and stuff like that is great to position your video as new, it's not an evergreen strategy, because once that news is old, no one's going to click that video anymore. So like I said, better way is, or a new way is, to come up with new names for old solutions. So a channel that absolutely crushes this is a guy called Rian Doris. I've shared a bunch about him on this channel. His entire channel is basically about how to get into a flow state. So if he just repeatedly said, here's how to get into flow state in every video or every title of his video and thumbnail, his content's not going to feel fresh and new. So instead, he comes up with new names on how to get into flow state. So for example, in this video, it's the 3-hour rule. And in this video, it's know your chronotype. Like, what the hell is even chronotype? And that's exactly the purpose of it. By coming up with unique names, it makes you go, or that, you know, names that kind of sound cool. It makes your brain go, wow, what's that? I have to, let me click that to find out. So by constantly changing the names of how to get into flow state, his content always seems fresh and new. But as you can see, this mostly applies to the title and thumbnail of your video. So if you want to see me go deeper on how to actually position the content of your video as fresh and new, then check out my full script writing tutorial. That's where I'll share a bunch of frameworks on exactly how you can do this. So I'll leave a link below so you can check it out at the end of this video. All right, so the second pillar to master direct response marketing for YouTube is to make your solutions that you're actually sharing in your video seem easy and actionable. So the reason why you have to position the solution in your video as easy is because if you make it sound hard and boring, chances are people are going to click off. They're going to feel overwhelmed by your video. So it's our job to give solutions that are actionable, that are simple, easy to understand for the average person, because this is what's going to skyrocket your attention and make people keep coming back to watch your videos. So how do you actually make your solutions sound easier? So one of the best ways is to tell mirror stories. Now, a lot of people talk about storytelling, but they give ambiguous tips that don't actually generate sales. So let me share with you one of the most powerful techniques that will literally make your audience beg you to buy. So mirror stories are when you share a story of someone your audience can relate to has easily achieved the same result. So when your audience sees this person succeed, so when they see, or when you tell a story of when someone started where your audience currently is, but now they've achieved the result that the audience wants, this creates a feeling of, wow, if that person can do it, then I can do it. This kind of positions your solution that you're going to share in your video as easy and accessible to your audience. So one of the most impeccable examples of this is from Will's video that I shared earlier. So his entire video is based around how easy it is to make 10K per month from selling digital courses, basically. Now, like I said, Will understands direct response marketing. That's why he's sharing this story, because it positions his solution that he's about to share in the video as easy and actionable for the average person. Because if you're someone who wants to make 10K per month online and you hear about a story from a 45-year-old woman who's making $16,000 per month selling a knitting course, in your brain, you're thinking, man, if she can do it, then I can do it. So that's one of the best ways to position your solution as easy, is to find stories or case study examples where, you know, someone in the position of your audience has achieved the desired outcome and how they did it in a way that was frictionless. All right, so the third pillar to master direct response marketing on YouTube is to make your videos safe. So what exactly do I mean by make your content safe? So to explain it, I want you to take a look at this Rolex listing right here. Now, just pretend that you're actually interested in buying this. Chances are you'd have a bunch of questions running through your mind before you even think about spending $33,000 on a Rolex. You'd be thinking, I want to make sure that this Rolex isn't fake. I want to make sure this seller is trustworthy. And is there anything actually wrong with the Rolex? So you'd check the description, you'd check the seller rating, the reviews, before you'd even think about making a purchase decision. So ultimately, what you're searching for is safety. You want to make sure that the item is described and the seller will deliver the product. And the exact same thing happens on YouTube. So when someone clicks your video, they're instantly thinking things like, can I trust this person? Does his solutions actually work? Does he have proof to back up all the big claims that he's making in the video? So your entire video must address these questions and make your audience feel safe. So this is what's going to really engage your audience so that their brain doesn't start thinking, oh, okay, you know, this doesn't really sound right. I don't know if this guy's credible. Click off. You know, if they're 100% convinced that you know exactly what you're talking about, you're an authority in your niche, then they're going to stay engaged on your videos. So there's a few ways you can do this. One of the first ways is to prove that you're actually an authority. So what I like to do is inside my hook is add 2 to 3 credibility elements. So Alex Hormozi does this all the time. Every single one of his videos, pretty much every single one, he always inserts some sort of credibility element within the first 5 to 15 seconds. So for example, in this video right here, he shares that he just made $105 million from a book launch, and he shares this within the first 10 seconds. So you're automatically thinking, if you're a new audience that's ever heard of Alex, or even if you're an existing audience, he's just kind of saying, look, I know what I'm talking about. So in video 2, he basically says the exact same thing, that he sold the fastest non-fiction book in history. This is all within the first 13 seconds of the video. So that's the first way. Make sure that you're adding in big credibility elements within the first 5 to 15 seconds. And then in your entire hook in the first 30 seconds, a good rule of thumb is to add in 3 elements of credibility. The next strategy is to provide proof that your solutions actually work. So one of the most powerful ways to do this is to simply share case study examples. So in a bunch of my most viral hooks ever is I'll promise a solution and then I'll actually share a few case studies around that particular solution in the hook, 1 to 2 lines that actually prove that solution works. Will did this absolutely perfectly in his video. So not only does the story about the 45-year-old woman position his solution as easy, it also adds proof that it actually works. So in your hook or in the first part of your video, if you are promising a new or unique solution, if you have case study examples to back it up, add them in there. I always like to add 2 to 3, really kind of just proves that your solution actually works. Okay, so the final pillar to master DR marketing and generate more sales and leads from YouTube is you have to make your video and content in your video seem big. So what this means is that the payoff of your video or the thing that you're promising must change your audience's life, produce massive results, or transform them in some way. So a great example is Alex Hormozi's second best performing video ever. So he's threatening a life-changing event, or this is going to change your life, because basically he's saying adapt or die. Either you learn AI and learn to adapt to it, or your business is going to absolutely crash, or your career, or whatever. So this gets people to click because it threatens their life. So another great example, I think this is Charlie Morgan's second best performing video ever. Again, promising a life-changing piece of advice or solution. You'll never watch short form content again. So everyone's brain's fried from scrolling TikTok. So a video like this promises to solve that problem. So it's absolutely life-changing. Then finally, we have Will's example again, because it's just such a great video. This teases an audience transformation because obviously, there's thousands, if not millions of people whose goal it is to make $10,000 per month. So this video promises a transformation which gets people to click. So how do you actually make your content big? How do you tease life-changing results or life-changing advice or audience transformations? So one of the ways is you need to make your promises big. So each of these videos make a big promise. They're not little mouse promises. Adapt or die. Never watch short form content again. Make 10K per month. These are big promises. And the reason they're doing this is because we're all competing for attention on YouTube. If you're not making big promises in your content, then you're just going to blend in with everyone else. And your audience is just going to go find other creators that are making big promises. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying to make untrue or false, fake promises or anything like that. All you're doing is you're exaggerating the promises of your video. So here's what you need to do. You need to first find out what the big payoff of your video is and stretch it to the max. Now, like I said, all within reason. So a personal example is from this video right here. Now, I've shared this a bunch of times on my channel, but it is a great example to kind of explain what I mean. So the 9-minute algorithm hack to hit 1,000 subscribers fast. So I found the big payoff that this audience wanted for vidIQ was to hit 1,000 subscribers. That's kind of the main goal that they're all trying to achieve. So I just over-exaggerated the promise by saying, hey, here's a 9-minute algorithm hack to achieve it fast. Now, obviously you can't hit 1,000 subscribers in 9 minutes, but the video is 9 minutes long. So it's just a play on words that gets the brain's attention. So in Alex Hormozi's example, adapt or die, you're not going to die if you don't master AI. You're still going to survive. But obviously they're just stretching the big claim or promise of the video to the absolute max. Same with Charlie Morgan's example. Chances are he still watches short form content himself even after making this video. So that's the big key. Find the big payoff that your audience wants and then over exaggerate it to the max, obviously within reason. So that's the 4 core pillars of direct response marketing that you can apply to your YouTube channel to help you drive more sales and leads. Now, you're going to see amazing results if you have the time to study each of these and then apply them to your channel. But if you don't have time, then it's exactly why I built my done for you YouTube agency. So we'll literally handle everything from coming up with the idea, the titles, the thumbnail, getting it edited, and I'll personally write the script for your video, applying all these techniques and all the other techniques I've learned after years of studying direct response marketing. So all you have to do is show up for about 1 to 2 hours per week to actually film the video, and we'll handle everything else. So if that sounds interesting to you, then I'll leave a link in the description below. But either way, I hope you got value from this video. I would appreciate a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.